Again, guys, what is up? Truth and transparency. Thank you. Here we go. We are talking about WSU Kim just mentioned you live, Lana, and said she loves you and the content creator. Ah, that's sweet. That's sweet. This is a live that's going to break down the history of the house, and you guys can do what you want with it. This is just the facts, which is Scott Perky lived and resided at the 1122 King house because his wife, Carolina. So Carolina, out of Ecuador. She is his wife. Okay. So there you go. She went to the University of Idaho, but went to a school in New York for high school. And so when you pull up Scott Perky, he's associated with a couple different LLCs and businesses. And I was able to come across Small World Software LLC. You can't make Perky up, yeah. So, and it's spelled like this: Small World Software LLC. Okay. And that's how it's spelled, not two words, one word. And so when you try to Google this, what's going to flood the gates when you go to Google is going to be everything to do with GE. And Scott started his LLC in 1999. So hold on, let me see. I'll send this to my email. Okay. Okay, perfect. All right, so let me share actually this first. There you go. I can't with Disney. I know some people hate Disney, some people love Disney. But there you go. He starts this in filed May 1999, 902, Secretary of State, Small World Software, Scott Perky. Okay. 1122 King Road. And then the general type of business transacted under the assumed business name is wholesale trade. Wholesale trade. And then the name and address to which correspondence should be addressed. And then again, his name, that address. This is still active today. Okay. This is still active today. 24 years later, this is still, and it's this address, which I think is strange, but whatever. Then I said, what were his ties to Idaho? Well, his wife. Okay. Now check this out. She would change her picture on Facebook, February 15th, 2014. Literally, right before he is right before the date, March through June of 2014, Scott Perky started to have sexual relations with a 14-year-old, according to the allegations of the 14-year-old. But this wasn't able to for him to be charged until 2 years later, which was 2016. But and I will show you guys the case. Okay. So let's go. Stop sharing screen. Okay. Okay. In July of 2016, defendant was charged with 1 count of sexual assault on a child. Defendant and the state reached a plea agreement, and a change of plea hearing was set for April 19, 2017. Defendant decided he did not want to enter a plea and did not appear at the hearing. At a status conference 2 days later, defense counsel asked the court to set another change of plea hearing the following week. Now, at the first, on March 7th, 2018, defendant pleaded guilty to 1 count of lewd conduct with a child in violation of, the code, in exchange for which he agreed to a sentence of 3 to 15 years, all suspended with 6 months to serve. Defendant admitted to the court that between March and June of 2014, he inserted his penis into the vagina of the complainant, who was then 14 years old. He would go back to say that he was coerced into saying that, and because he was scared that he was going to go to prison for 20 years. Okay. But this is the same guy. All right. Now, going back to this now, going to share something else. Which is, okay. This was an article. Make sure I make it as big as I can. All right. This was an article that was produced in 2016. All right. By Emily Gordon. And she's basically asking herself questions. When was Print Magazine founded? Volume 1, Issue 1 was June 1850. When did the website first launch? They were launching the website to the harpers.org. So the first incarnation was in 1996. It was designed and built by a long defunct company called Small World Software. Okay. I know this because I worked for Small World right out of college. Okay. Right out of college. And remember spending a day or two doing maintenance work on harpers.org pushing pixels around. It never occurred to me that I'd end up an editor at the magazine. Okay. So this is where this article comes from, where Emily Gordon is basically asking herself these questions, right? And then she gives more information. Who designed it originally? See above. Small World Software. Who designed the current incarnation? Was the design done in-house or by an outside firm, or a combination of the two? It was just me, pecking away for a year and a half. When did you do your latest redesign? And what motivated the magazine to go forward with it? Again, this is 2006. Everyone thought it would be a good idea to go forward with a new site that would appeal to our subscribers. And there was demand from libraries, from archive access. So I bought a scanner, found a spare copy of the archive, and got started. Do you have a full-time web staff or editor? How did the print magazine staff, the web staff, and the outside designers work together on the current vision? I'm an associate editor, and I manage the site and edit all the online-only material. I edit a little for the magazine as well. My friend, Kenji Morrow, works on the subscriber management code, accounts, passwords, renewals, and I maintain all the content management code. For a few months, my girlfriend, Maureen Flattery, helped me align the scans to the content database. Everyone got along fine. Okay, what? This has got to be the weirdest, interview sesh that I've ever seen. Meaning this, where does it ask about everybody getting along fine? What is this? What are we talking about? So I went ahead and I wrote down Maureen Flattery, Kenji Morrow, and Emily Gordon. Okay. Because it was, at first I was like, who was she asking these questions to? Because normally when you see something like this, you see, editor, and then they ask the question, and then they say who's ever answering the question that has their name, and then they answer it. So I'm like, what is this? So if somebody else feels some type of way that, okay, wait, no, this isn't Emily Gordon asking herself these questions, feel free to tell me why. But she wants us to know that everyone got along fine. What? And the outside designers worked together on the current, everyone got along fine. Weird. Anyways, how long did the latest redesign take? About 18 months from brainstorm to launch. How much focus did you give the magazine's impressive history and archives on the website? How much is now reflected in the site? All of it. Does the website focus on reaching out to long-time or older readers, to new or younger, or both? I'd guess that a site will skew younger than a print magazine, given the nature of the medium. Right now, I'm more concerned about moving us forward. More web-only features, more blog content, more archive material open to the world than I am about demographics. Working online for over a decade, I've learned that the audience will find you if you work hard enough to give them something worth reading. Well, right here, working online for over a decade, that's 10 years. 10 years, okay? So this was 2006. So now we can back this up to 1996. Okay, 1996. So then, what was your web designer's key mandate? Launch the site. How much input did editorial and or business management have in the site's design and redesign? So this is the part about what I worry. So I worked away until I had coded up a very basic adaptable semantic web framework that allows for both major changes to the structure of the site and for regular improvements to the design as we gathered data upon usability. Okay. Is the Harper's website creating subscription revenue? Community, conversation? What were your original goals for the site's readers? And what surprised you the most about users' relationship to it or the use of it? Our goals: increase the number of subscriptions and renewals, provide a service to libraries and academic communities, and generate more advertising revenue. Again, it has only been a month and our launch was fairly soft, no major marketing campaigns or anything like that. But subscriptions are up quite a bit over the same period last year. Library sales are strong and advertising is picking up. I was surprised to see how many people, hundreds of thousands, have used our search tool. All 255,000 pages are indexed for search. Given the positive response, I plan to spend much of the next year thinking hard about search and search indexing and working out ways to improve the experience. Has the site been nominated for or won any awards? No, it's only been a month. I'm happy nothing is terribly broken. Yeah, great. Awesome. Okay. So then I go to, I said, okay, how did Scott Perky meet these three people? If this girl worked on Small World software, Emily Gordon, like where'd she go to college? Things like that. So I looked up Emily Gordon. Emily Gordon, where are we going with this? We're going with, this is about people that are able to build websites, coding, software. This has to do with what did Scott Perky, when I found out that Scott Perky had a run-in with a 14-year-old in a way of a sexual encounter that is against the law, that usually indicates that he was 62 when he put his penis into a 14-year-old's vagina. And that's something that wouldn't have started when you were 62. Okay. So where we're going with this is just to either be patient and watch or catch it on replay or don't. It's up to you. But this is the history of 1122 King. And why would people from New York? Scott Perky is from New York. His wife came over from Ecuador. How did she get here? Good question. But how did they end up going to the University of Idaho? And it's because his wife goes to school there. Okay. Yes, and the business is still using that address. Absolutely. But it has to do with, okay, Scott Perky reached out to college students. This girl said right when she got out of college, this is when she was working for the Small World Software LLC. Okay. Well, I was like, wow, did this girl go to, Idaho? How did he find these people? And no, she didn't go to the University of Idaho. These are people that came from UCLA, Stanford. Okay. So I don't know if he found freelancers on the internet, but in some way, somehow, this girl from this interview slipped up, because the only thing that you can find about this small world is just a couple different things. And this is one of them. and she puts out this interview of herself. And how I know that it's of her is because I looked up Emily Gordon, who is now Emily Morrow, who is married to Kenji, whose Kenji's real first name is William Kenji Morrow. Okay. And Maureen, yes, was just one of her girlfriends. She kind of went off. She's in, Seattle, but she's not involved with the tech world. These two, though, can make you anything you want when you want to talk about websites. And what is the biggest thing that kiddie porn and escorts and, like your OnlyFans, that's a website. That's a coded website. Everything that you're doing online, everything that today's world is doing is, it's all tech. Okay. And so what is this Small World Software LLC that started as a wholesale trade? What is this? Okay. And clearly it's something to do with building a website. They built a website. All right. And then I looked up what these people were good at. I also just looked up their track record. So let's go to, I said, let me look up what Emily Gordon was up to, what Kenji Morrow was up to, but also where was Scott Perky? So Scott, he really quick. Okay. (1122) King. Then they get another house in Moscow, Idaho, at the address of 1866 Appaloosa Road, which is right where Constagna is. Okay. And they have the 1122 King address while they have the new address in the big house that was built in 1986 on Appaloosa Road. Okay. And then I go and I look up Kenji Morrow on Facebook. So let me show you this. Okay. All right, I'm going to pull up these for you guys. Okay. 24 years, 1 month. Active current. Small World Software. Idaho assumed business name. Filing state, Idaho. Active current. 24 years, 1 month. Mailing address, still 1122 King Road. Okay. Moscow, Idaho. Business category, computer software. And everybody thought when they went to go ahead and Google this, you're going to think that it is the small world together, the word small world together. That's not it. It's not the GE software that was bought. Okay, that's not what this is. And then here underneath, you can see Scott Perky, the owner, again, the address. This is still like this. Okay. Why is this address still the address? That means your mail would be coming here. That means, everything is in 24 years in 1 month. This is still the address of Small World Software. What is Small World Software? What is it? What are you making? This has nothing to do with the GE. Okay. So again, here's your proof when someone says, oh, well, this was from 1999. No, that's when it was started. Okay. I do believe that they started working on it earlier, but it officially became this LLC in 1999. It is still current. Okay. It's right here. Here's your proof that it's current. Okay. 24 years later, company age, 24 years, 1 month. This started in May of 1999. All right. Now, let me continue. Then I saw Kenji Morrow, June 4th, the same month. Okay, March through June of 2014. This is when this alleged, and I believe it happened, obviously, like when you want to say alleged, you can now say he admitted. Okay, it's in court papers. I just showed that. The same time frame, June of 2014. Kenji Morrow, who has 2 Facebook accounts, this is just one of them, puts up about this Appaloosa, the same name as the street that frickin' Scott Perky lived on in Idaho during the same time that he had the 1122 King. Okay. This is the name of the app. Okay. Now it is Mobile App Prototyping Kit for Curious Girls. Look at how that says it like that. Curious Girls. What in the actual? Okay, this is the name. I backed this. What is this? Looks awesome. Okay. This is the name of an app that they created. You can go ahead and look at it. But I just thought the tagline that says Mobile App Prototyping Kit for Curious Girls. Like, what? And this is how they would get around back in the day to ride under the radar. Instead of it saying GIRLS, it's GRRLS. So it stays. This is how you can ride around it being flagged. Okay. Again, so please take a look at this. Take a look at these dates. This is the same time frame of this Scott Perky, who these 3 people worked on Small World Software. Kenji, Emily. And here you have, they named this app Appaloosa. It's the same road that he lived on in Moscow after and during the whole King. Then you have this dude promoting it in the same month that he's doing stuff with 14-year-olds. 14-year-olds. He's having sex, the Scott Perky guy is having sex with 14-year-olds. Then he has 2 different accounts. Alex Fans, the other one. And there's none other than him and Emily Gordon, now known as Emily Morrow. Then, here you go. Here is your Scott Perky, registered sex offender. He is all of 5'5". I mean, I don't know what's in the water that everybody goes to Idaho who's short, but 71, white, male blue, 5'5", gray, 165 pounds. And the reason that some people didn't think that it was him, yeah, that was his Vermont address. Okay. He also owns Durango Coffee. He owns Durango Coffee Company. Okay. Then I wanted to go ahead and look at their work history. Like, where are these people working? You know, what's going on? What's up? So let me go like this. So let me pull this up. I wanted to know if they were ever in the business of, back in the day, there was a thing called Summer Infant. And Summer Infant is a company. It's kind of like, you know, when you're expecting your first baby, you go get your baby monitor. And so there's a bunch of different manufacturers that make baby monitors. But what they started doing is they started making apps that you could not only you'd be able to start using your phone to watch your children on your monitors. But then there came a point in time in 2016, and 2018, where companies started to get away from using apps to be able to watch your monitor. Like, you could, if you just had your monitor close enough to your actual signal, your camera's in the baby's room, and then you have your monitor, but you can't go too far because then you'll lose signal. So these companies started using apps to be able to watch your child on your phone. Even if you have like a babysitter or whatever, wherever these cameras were that were like monitors, not an actual like installation of the cameras in your house, but the actual monitors. Well, they stopped doing the apps that you could actually watch from your phone because people were hacking into them and people were watching your children. Okay. They would hack in. And so these companies like Summer Infant was one of them. They stopped being able to watch. They stopped the app because these sick freaks were hacking in. And I mean, I think 60 Minutes did a big show about it. But it was big in the fact that, you have people that are able to hack into stuff. And it's not just for babies. It's for, just your toddlers, your regular. I mean, they were able to get into these apps. And they just didn't have enough security. So what they did is they shut them down. Okay. But bottom line is that stuff started going on. And so as creative, as smart as they were trying to make things they also realize is you better have some really good security, otherwise people can get in. Okay. But anyways, there's a big thing with baby monitors. And so you're building these websites, whatever they're building. Because I said, how did Scott Perky get his money to the point that he has a plane? Okay. People just aren't going buying planes. Well, he's in the coffee business. Coffee, you fly over where to go get the best coffee? What is it, Colombia? His wife's from Ecuador. Short men in small world makes sense. Okay. So I wanted to know more about where, because Scott Perky's 71. Back how old his wife was. She's 57, so 14 years difference. Okay. They had their first kid when she was 26, and that's their only kid. And so after going to the University of Idaho, they moved to Washington. Okay. After some time. But obviously they still kept these LLCs and what have you. So then I just wanted to take a peek at things like, okay, again, this is all public from the page. So I have no issues going here, but just so you guys can see, or maybe I can even just do it like this. Just send it to myself. All right, let's pull this up. Holy moly, yes. Thank you. Now, again, he wasn't, that's the whole thing is I don't know what his involvement is with the house, because Dan Etsy, he's involved. And so I don't know in terms of that, but I'm talking about the history of the house. Okay. So she's been working and has for a while at this vocational rehabilitation counselor at Colorado Division of Vocational Rehabilitation. And so before this, she was kind of doing something similar in Washington. Okay, Washington. And then I noticed LLCs that were under her name. And it seemed like that she had started up this massage therapy place. She was like a massage therapist. But there was another one that caught my eye. And it was about housing assistance. And, when you're around, I think I put it out there to show something that's similar would be in the whole Jerry Sandusky thing. Jerry Sandusky of Penn State, he used a nonprofit called I don't know if it was the Extra Mile, the Long Mile, something like that, some mile. But it was a nonprofit, but you're around people that you're acting like you're helping, okay? And you're doing things to help people, but you're also then going to take advantage of these people that are in desperate situations. And so I was looking at all the stuff that is going on, and you have this guy Kenji that's able to make a play app for children that actually has cameras that you can use while they're doing work, that they're able to interact with other children, whether it's at school or in the summer. And everything's about interacting and being able to chat on these and use cameras, and it's for children. Okay. And I'm just like, what the hell is all this stuff about? And the only reason I went down this path is because of Scott Perky's what came out. What came out is that he likes little girls. And did he create some type of website or multiple websites that have to do with this type of stuff, to the point of that I've always said, was there something going on in Idaho on this campus, or even just on campuses, period, where it's like OnlyFans on steroids, like OnlyFans 2.0. And when you see what somebody was doing, and you look at their situation, and you can't help it. Okay, you don't want to, like, you want to look into it because you know what the hell is going on. And this may not have anything to do with the murders whatsoever. Okay. Because I was listening to Mr. Gonsalves in a couple of his interviews, and it's like, when you start digging and you start digging into things because of something else that happened, you come across other things. Why were there all these FBI agents in that area? Okay. That were already there. They had 60 FBI agents. What's going on? Okay. What happened? What, all it takes is somebody just digging in a little bit into what it is that you're doing. I mean, and you don't realize, if someone comes up to you and says, oh, hey, if you're trying to make some extra money, we do this thing, and all you got to do is, these guys, they play video games all day, and girls, they have like these Twitch accounts, and they just like talk sexy to them. And then you're making, like, people are paying all this money while they're playing like video games, and like you're on a camera, and like, you don't realize it can like escalate to different things. No way, Lana. Sorry, I just pointed out a hella receipts. Then you must be late, honey. You must be super late. That I just pointed out that the 1122 King Road home is the address of a known pedophile that had sex with a 14-year-old girl when he was 62 years old. Okay. And no, I do not believe that would be the first time that a guy did that at 62. He's been doing it for a while. Okay. It took 2 years for them to come forward with it. And so the girl was 16. All right. He admitted to it. And this is the owner of the Small World software, which was, what is it used for? Go find me any taxes on Small World Software LLC. Tell me what they're selling people. What is this LLC used for? I challenge every single person out there to go out there and look into Small World Software LLC, and you tell me that it's for like auto trading of cars. Okay. This is a theory. This isn't a theory to tell you that the guy that owns this house still has an LLC that he owns in the address of the 1122 King Road home. And he has sex with little girls. That is a fact. This is not a theory. Then you look at the apps that they were building. Okay. And you look at, what is the app for? How can I continue to connect that he was still in this techie world. Why wouldn't these two people, Emily Gordon, Emily Morrow, whatever she calls herself now, and Kenji, why aren't they ever, go look at the dates that they, in 1999, go look at certain dates of where they were employed and why they were self-employed at certain times and what they were really doing. So they just didn't work for those 3 years. What's going on here? But what is this LLC? What is it for? What is this wholesale? The receipts are there. I looked everywhere. This has nothing to do with the home, though. Okay? This has nothing to do with the home. This is an LLC. This is for computer software for websites. And what were they building? What type of websites were they building? This guy and girl, Emily and Kenji, the type of websites that they can build, they build you a private login website that you get only a login for, and that person has a login, and then you have your own password. Okay, and you're going into these think about like when you log into Facebook. Okay, you have your own login and with your own password. They're making websites for something, but what are they? What is this for? What is this LLC used for? So, and why did it start up in Idaho? So they're from New York and they went to high school in New York. And then the wife ends up going to the University of Idaho for college. You're going to travel all the way across the country to go to the University of Idaho, in 99, 96, 1996. Go look up at the people that lived at the 1122 King house. See what year Carolina Perkey moved into the 1122 King house. That was her house that she rented. Okay. You got a guy that has a fetish with young women, young girls, and he's teamed up with a bunch of web people that can design stuff that he would be into. So that's your home. That's your history on what was going down. And then after being in that King Road home, then they got that house on Appaloosa Road. And that's the same name of what they came out with this app. They named it that. That is the history of the house. It is. That's just the history of the house. This is the history of also what if you were involved with small world software, you would know where it was like originated and where it was born out of. And if you go back and you read that article again, and that they worked for this, well, where did you do the work for it? Because the LLC had the house address as 1122 King. But is that not where you did the work for it? For the small world? Like, where were you where you did that work? So, thank you there, Deborah, thank you. Again, it's sad. It's sad because this stuff is out there. And I challenge anybody else to go and look, where is that article, or rather that interview that that Steve was talking about. What was Kaylee talking about to him? Okay. Kaylee followed true crime. What was that's exactly what blows my mind too. Each year that you're renewing your license and that you're keeping your business in good standings, what address is written down. But what was Kaylee talking about with her dad? Wasn't she talking about something? And if you go back and you check out what was going on in 2016, 17, and 18, 19, right before COVID hit, a lot of these universities, I had to do the research myself. I didn't realize what was going on, and people were getting popped with sororities and escorting. Sad, sick. 2016, 17, 18, all this escorting stuff with the sororities and police being part of it and getting arrested. I'll put up some examples because you guys want the extra receipts. But the receipts are right there. They're all within what I showed you guys. Sorority advisor and 6 others indicted in HBCU prostitution ring, April 10th, 2019, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and then they go on and on. Sorority probe for sex ring to pay pledges fees, May 1st, 2018, New York Post. AKA sorority accused of running a sex ring and pimping out pledges. Alpha Kappa Alpha sororities, 110-year service-based mission. These allegations are in no way a representative of the Alpha Kappa Alpha sororities, 110-year. I mean, former Fort Valley State University sorority advisor pleads guilty in sex ring. Reno, prostitution sting leads to arrests of genealogists and ex-police officers, October 26, 2022. (2017) How police brought down a tech-savvy prostitution network in Bellevue. July 26, 2017, the online sex buying investigation that began in April 2015 uncovered the interlocking organizations that ran the prostitution businesses. Dallas police raid short-term rental property used by alleged sex. You guys can just go ahead and look it all up. And I hate talking about stuff like this. This stuff makes my stomach sick. I think that's why I actually put it off a little bit longer to talk about. But when I got confirmation on Scott Perkey and to make sure that it was the right Scott Perkey and to double check everything, it is the right person. This is public information. And that house, 1122 King, still has an active LLC that's in that man's name, and that's that address. And it's been running for 24 years. 24 years. This is disgusting. And people that take advantage of females, they say, though, usually a male works with a female in order to win over a female's trust. So, people want to say, do I think there's, cameras hidden in the walls of that house? I have no idea. That's, to me, no clue. I'm more or less thinking that it's about you're setting up organizations that you could possibly do in certain areas where you think that you can do certain things. And maybe people are going to look the other way. I don't know. But they clearly started up this and put it, boom, here, let's go pick this place on Moscow's campus. We'll rent this house. We're going to put the LLC in this, in my name over here. It's where my wife is going to college and renting this home. It's sad. It's sick. But tell me the ties to Idaho from a guy that's born and raised in New York. There's just no ties to Idaho. So it's sick. But I do believe that the FBI has been on this. And I believe that the FBI is still on it. And I believe that the stuff that you guys were hearing and that we were hearing about certain things can't come out because it could hinder other investigations and other people could be in danger and things like that. This is that type of shit. This is what could keep people in their lives in danger. This could be the people that were undercover doing things and trying to bring down something like this. All the years that they've been working on something like this. And then this murder happens. These murders happen. Okay. And they're on the verge of, doing X, Y, and Z to be able to take it down. And they can't. Or that now shit. So this is in my opinion something that, I'm just putting out the facts of the matter of you can't sit there and say that this stuff doesn't happen, Lana. You're not, you're so far off. I just read off all these different states where this shit's happening. And it's happened, and we're not talking years ago. We're talking right before COVID and then after COVID. So, but this is the stuff that could get people, that people would still be in danger. So, but you want to know why the FBI would be there and what special task force they put together? Stuff like this, to take down stuff like this. So, all right, guys, you take care, and them's the facts. Special shout out to those that joined membership. Bad boy. Janine from the Seattle area. Thank you. Janine from the Seattle area. Holy moly. Imagine renting a house from a sex offender who owns a software company. Yeah. Super sticker. Cynthia, thank you. Deborah, thank you. Rock Chalk 100. On side note, go Nuggets. Go Nuggets. Yes, yes. And thank you, Lana, for your hard work. You're very welcome, Rock Chalk. Thank you for seeing it. Appreciate that. You guys are all appreciated. A special shout out to Gina. I thought that Gina would appreciate this live. again, we can all disagree, agree to disagree, but the facts are the facts of the history of this house, and the history of this house and the people and what they were using this address for, and what it could, the facts are is that a 62-year-old man put his dick into a 14-year-old's vagina, and that's enough for me to know that he did that before. That was not the first time, and what the hell are his business is for. What's going on? So I think that he needs to be seriously looked into, and even if it has nothing to do with these murders. I'm sorry, but if girls are being harmed and put in harm's way, that's some shit. So, and that's exactly what Mr. Gonsalves said in one of his interviews, that maybe it won't like solve this, but this stuff needs to come to light. So something he was talking about needs to come to light. So there it is. Until next time.